This is Julie Bastide of the Christian Working Woman, and today we're talking about what really matters. I've been camped out in Ephesians lately. The Apostle Paul is writing a letter to the believers in the church at Ephesus and to us, and so here are a few verses from the second chapter. And you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that's now at work in the sons of disobedience, among whom we all once lived in the passions of our flesh, carrying out the desires of the body and the mind, and were by nature children of wrath like the rest of mankind. But God, being rich in mercy, because of the great love with which He loved us, even when we were dead in our trespasses, made us alive together with Christ. By grace you have been saved, and raised us up with Him and seated us with Him in the heavenly places in Christ Jesus, so that in the coming ages He might show the immeasurable riches of His grace and kindness toward us in Christ Jesus. For by grace you have been saved through faith. This is not your own doing, it's a gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. Familiar verses to many of us. Heather Holleman has written a book, Seated with Christ, Living Freely in the Culture of Comparison. And she focuses on this verse in Ephesians 2 that we're already seated with Christ in the heavenly places. So, what does that really mean? What does that look like? I think we strive and struggle to be seated at all different kinds of tables. As kids, maybe we were trying to sit at the popular table or the athletic table. As an employee, maybe we're working hard for the next promotion. As a wife or a mother, we're trying to have the perfect home and make homemade meals and raise perfect children and children going to the right school. So many different things. And as a good Christian, we're trying to serve everywhere. Maybe so much so that we're exhausted. Maybe we're trying to work harder financially to get at a certain level. So there are many tables where we could be seated. But there's also some tables that we're seated at that we don't want to be seated at. Maybe we've got some health issues that we're dealing with and we don't really want to be with that table. Or some relationship issues, either with close family or coworkers. Maybe we're waiting on God for some answers, for some direction, and that table can get hard to be seated at. But Paul tells us that we're already seated at the best table with Christ in the heavenly places. He's done it all for us. We don't have to strive and work to be seated at that table. We've been saved by grace through faith. We can rest in what He's done for us. Once we're able to start to grasp that concept and believe it and rest in it, there's really just this freedom that comes with it. And then we are free to do His good will. He's prepared good works for us beforehand that we should walk in them. Our position at the table is secure. We belong. So I just want to encourage you today to hold on to this truth and be free from the striving of your own efforts. We already have a seat at the best table, and that's what really matters.